Hey YouTube, it's Brendan Cusack Prep, coming at you with a way to solve yet another trig identity. So here what we have is cosine of x over 1 minus sine of x minus cosine of x over 1 plus sine of x is equal to 2 times tangent of x. So I decide which side I want to work from, and in this case I'm going to work from the left side because that's clearly the more complicated side. And what I see is a couple of different cues that tell me what I should do. One, I see two different terms on the left and only one term on the right, so that's usually a sign that I need to find the least common denominator. Furthermore, I can see that these denominators are conjugates of each other, and when denominators are conjugates of each other, it's usually a good sign that when you multiply them by one another, things are going to work out nicely. So what I'm going to do to get the least common denominator is I'm going to multiply this by 1 plus sine of x over 1 plus sine of x. And I'm going to multiply this by 1 minus sine of x over 1 minus sine of x. Essentially, I'm just trying to get the denominators to be the same as each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to distribute across the top because I've done this problem already, and I know that I'm just going to have to undo it if I were to. So I'm just going to leave this as cosine of x times 1 plus sine of x. And on the bottom, when I FOIL this, I'm going to have 1 minus sine of x plus sine of x minus sine squared of x. And over here on this side, I'm again not going to FOIL, so I'm going to have cosine of x times 1 minus sine of x over, the same thing happens on the bottom, where I would have 1 minus sine of x plus sine of x minus sine squared of x. Now what I can see here is this minus sine of x and this plus sine of x cancel out, and the same thing happens here. So I have 1 minus sine squared of x in both of these denominators. Well, we know that 1 minus sine squared is just equal to cosine squared. So what I can do is I can rewrite this as cosine of x times 1 plus sine of x over cosine squared of x minus cosine of x times 1 minus sine of x over cosine squared of x, and that equals the right side still, which is 2 tangent of x. Now I can cross off this cosine with one of the ones on the bottom in both fractions, and so what I end up with is 1 plus sine of x over cosine of x minus 1 minus sine of x over cosine of x. Now, when you have fractions like this, in order to combine them, you just add straight across the top and straight across the bottom, or in this case, subtract. So what I do is 1 minus 1, which is 0, and sine of x minus negative sine of x, I have to distribute that negative across, is going to be 2 sine of x. So I have 2 sine of x over cosine of x is equal to 2 times tangent of x. Now I can see that sine of x over cosine of x, well, that's just equal to tangent. So we find that 2 times tangent of x is equal to 2 times tangent of x. And there you have it. We've proven that the two sides of this trig identity are equal to each other. Thanks for watching.